Good afternoon, Mr. Perlman. The purpose of this presentation is to update you on where we stand after the conclusion of our NRCS project. In addition, we're going to discuss what we learned during the project in order for us to hopefully improve in certain areas on future projects. Let's get right into it. Firstly, let's review how the projects affect our operation. Before the project, we had been running around 200 brood cows on 250 acres of pasture for about the last year and a half. After the completion of the project, we're now sitting at 335 acres of fenced pasture, which will allow us to grow our herd size by 68 cows if we continue to use a stocking rate of 1.25 fenced acres per brood cow. This additional acreage will not only provide additional revenue opportunities in terms of growing our herd, but it also has provided an additional water well, fencing, and an NRCS certified stream crossing. Because of these improvements to our farm through the NRCS project, we've added a tremendous amount of monetary value to our property and our operation. Furthermore, we have profited from the project by officially finishing under the provided budget of $160,000. After reviewing, we finished right at $14,000 under budget. Next, let's look at some of the key things that we learned over the course of the project. Firstly, as you know, we created a basic project management application for our last NRCS project. Previously, we used this project manager application internally. For this project, we decided to create a viewing window for third-party individuals. We knew this viewing window would prove to be valuable for all parties involved as a means of passive and ongoing communication, but I don't think we realized just how valuable it was going to be. As the project began, I introduced Daryl from the NRCS to our project manager application, and he didn't really seem enthused about it. But as the project went along and he realized he could check on the status of individual tasks in his own time, I think he began to realize how valuable of a tool it is. And so much so that I believe he is trying to get the NRCS to create a similar application that they can use on all their projects. Another key thing that we learned during the project is that we did not effectively manage the workload of our employees. Towards the end of the project, we noticed that our commitment to the project had a negative effect on our normal farm operations, while also proving to put unnecessary physical stress on our 2 employees. We realized that multiple project tasks were taking more labor hours than expected, despite our hard work and fortunate lack of mistakes. This resulted in us overworking our employees for a period of a few months. Despite all the overtime hours to keep up with both the projects and regular farm tasks, we realized that certain aspects of our operation were being neglected. A third area that I feel like we struggled in throughout the project was the communication with our third-party contractors. I had difficulties communicating with our well driller and our stream crossing contractor. Throughout the project, I had multiple misunderstandings with both the contractors, which I think put stress on the tasks they were working on. I think a lot of the issues have to do with both the contractors being very busy, hopping from job to job. In addition, both of these guys are somewhat of old-fashioned guys, so they were hard to reach via cell phone or by email. Next, let's look at some project management lessons that we learned throughout the project. Firstly, I think I was reminded of how important it is to keep a detailed record of all details on the project. By doing this, I think future misunderstandings or disagreements could be avoided. The reason I mention this is because there were many times that I communicated face-to-face with one of the NRCS representatives or contractors. And during those conversations, project decisions were made. In the future, I think being sure to note what was said in these conversations and documenting it would prove to be useful in terms of minimizing liability. Second, I think I was reminded to never be content with your performance as a project manager. Despite our success on the project, as I look back, I know that there were multiple areas where we could have been more efficient, which could have resulted in additional earnings on the basis of saving money. And thirdly, I'm reminded of the importance of seeking feedback on your performance as a manager throughout the project. By doing this, I could have potentially avoided overworking our employees throughout this project. Seeking feedback at the end of the project is commonplace, but seeking feedback as the project is ongoing should prove to be valuable in terms of controlling the perceptions of individuals involved with the project. Now let's look at some things that we can do in order to improve future projects. Make improvements to the project manager application. By adding some improvements to the project management application, we can be more efficient in future projects while also addressing some of the issues that we face throughout the project. Firstly, I'd like to add a tagging alert system to the application. By doing this, I can tag a contractor or NRCS representative who needs to be notified to a change that I have made in the application. By tagging the individual, an email with the information will automatically be sent. This could include project updates, changes, or important notes relating to the project. Secondly, I would like to add a document upload feature. This would really help on the paperwork end. Through this feature, I could upload documentation as I receive it throughout the project. This would help us to be more organized during the project while also allowing me to compile all the documents in one place on the project manager application. Thirdly, I would like to add a Gantt chart feature to the application. By doing this, I would have everything I need for the entire project in one place. In addition, it would provide clarity for all parties involved in terms of how we are allocating our resources on the project. And lastly, another thing that we can do to improve future projects is to address our employee inefficiencies. I propose that we hire contract employees to carry out are certain tasks associated with the project in order to allow our regular employees to focus on normal operations. This is not quite cut and dry thing, as each and every project has its unique requirements, but I think it would be best to put a limit on the amount of weekly hours that our employees can work on the project. And even then, I would suggest that these hours come after the normal operational tasks are completed. These employee hours could be voluntary. That way we would not be required to pay our employees additional overtime. In addition, we could also try and work with the NRCS to have the majority of our projects scheduled during the winter months. This year, the project schedule conflicted with our second hay cutting and put a lot of physical stress on our employees during an already busy time of year. Mr. Prilliman, thank you for your time, and I hope that this presentation proves to be valuable for us in the future.